These whiskeys may not be the cheapest, but they are some of the best whiskeys that I had in 2025. So if you like to treat yourself to something premium every once in a while, this list is for you. Stick around. What's up, guys? Jeff coming to you from the 18 in Taipei, and today I've got 5 of my favorite non-budget whiskeys of 2025. These don't need to have been released in 2025, but I need to have loved them in 2025. Now, I've already done my Whiskey of the Year video, and the idea behind the Whiskey of the Year video is that it needs to be available and affordable. Affordable being the key word, which is why that was chosen as the Whiskey of the Year. I chose Compass Box Orchard House, and that's just because I don't want to send you guys out to spend an arm and a leg on something. But here's the thing about limbs. We have so many of them. I'm guessing 4 for most of you, and honestly, that's a lot. Listen, if you want to keep both your legs for locomotion, fine, I get it. If you are right-handed, okay, keep that one. But what's your left hand doing? What is your left arm really doing for you? I'm just saying you could trade it in for a nice bottle of whiskey. Anyway, the rules for this is these all need to be OBs or original bottlings, so no independent bottlings, and they need to be delicious, and that is pretty much it. As usual, I do have a mystery port in my glass. Your hint for today is that this is from one of my favorite Speyside brands. However, this is an IB, and since it's an IB, you're not going to guess what it is, so do your best to guess the brand. It is from Speyside. They have an 18-year-old that I've been screaming about for years from a collection called the Secret Speyside Collection. So try and guess the brand, and that'll be enough. And I guess that's it. Let's not waste more time. Let's jump into our list. These are my 5 top premium whiskeys or non-budget whiskeys of 2025. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right, at the back of this list is a whiskey that I actually got for my birthday this year, and I absolutely love it, but I don't know if it's going to be of much interest to a lot of you guys out there because my audience tends to be very Scotch-leaning, and this is a Japanese whiskey. Japanese whiskeys are widely respected for their quality, but are not usually considered great value. Not a lot of bang for buck in the Japanese whiskey scene these days. This whiskey is not cheap, but it is absolutely delicious. At number 5, I've got Chichibu on the way. The one I've got is the 2024 release, and it is a banger. I do feel like if Japan had a Springbank, it would be Chichibu, but that's not because they taste similar. But like Springbank, Chichibu can be hyped up. It can be hard to find. It's often overpriced, but on the opposite side of that, it is one of the best quality craft whiskeys to be coming out of the Japanese whiskey scene. And this is a lot more characterful than a lot of Japanese whiskeys because, personally speaking, I find Japanese whiskeys a bit tough. They're always lovely to drink, perfectly balanced, but in a way they're almost too perfect. They're almost over-engineered, I suppose is the word. Like, I admire the Japanese precision, but I often find myself more charmed by the imperfections and eccentricities and quirks of Scotch whiskey. That's just me. Maybe you're different. But this one bridges both worlds because it is meticulously put together, but it's also loaded with character. And if you're a pretentious prick like me who uses words like subtlety, nuance, and complexity, you will get on with this one. This one is made using 100% floor malted barley. It's matured in casks aged roughly 9 to 15 years. We've got ex-bourbon, we've got ex-sherry, we've got Mizunara oak, we've got wine barrels, and Chibidaru small casks. I don't know what that last one is, but it sounds craft as fuck. It is, of course, non-chill filtered. It is natural color. It comes in at 54.5%. It's not easy to find. It's not cheap, but if you can get your hands on it, absolutely beautiful stuff. Very grateful to my buddies who picked this up for my birthday. Thank you, fellas. Comes in at number 5. Chichibu on the way. At number 4, I've got Talisker 25, and this is a bit weird because I've said many times on the channel that the Talisker 10, the new rebranded version, worse than the old version. I don't like it as much anymore, but the new 25 is fantastic. Now, I haven't done a direct side-by-side between the new one and the old one, but just going off of memory, I do actually think I like the new one more. That's going to be a very controversial take. You're always supposed to like the older stuff, but I'm a cheeky little rascal and I say what I want. Being older, being 25 years old, this is going to be more subtle. It's going to be rounder. It is going to be softer than your younger, bolder Taliskers. But I think the The age has given it a certain refinement, and it still is, at its heart, a classic Talisker. And I remember my complaint with the old Talisker 25 is that when it was compared to stuff like the 18-year-old or the 30-year-old, it was almost too soft. And the reason I say that I like this new one better is that it has retained a little bit more boldness of character. And yeah, it's just one of those premium whiskeys that tastes premium. I love the gently peaty, salty, coastal, mineralic Talisker character, and I do think that it's elevated by that higher age statement. Once again, this is not a particularly cheap whiskey, and a few years back, Talisker did shoot up in price somewhat, so I'm not telling you guys to go out and splurge on this one, but I am saying that if you want to splurge on something, you could do a hell of a lot worse than this. It's a beautiful whiskey. Number 4 is Talisker 25. At number 3, we've got another 25-year-old because we're posh like that, and this is one that I actually got on sale, so I feel pretty good about it, but I don't know how it's going to be priced in other markets, but it won't be cheap. 25-year-olds almost never are, but I've got Bunnahabhain 25. This stuff is class in a glass. It's a Bunnahabhain through and through. It's absolutely beautiful, and like the Talisker, we have this higher age statement, which I think elevates the whiskey. We get more subtlety, nuance, complexity, refinement, and other pretentious adjectives. Now, is this worth the bump in price from the 18? I think that would depend on the 18, because the 18, in my experience, has been quite batchy, quite inconsistent. At its best, I think it's one of the finest 18-year-olds on the market. At its worst, it tends to be over-oaked and far too simple for the price. Now, to be fair, I've not had many batches of the 25-year-old. I've probably drank from no more than 3 or 4 separate bottles, and it has, in my very limited experience with it, been consistently good. So there is that. Either way, from a flavor perspective, this is a phenomenal whiskey. It has a beautiful sherried influence, very fruity. We have a wonderfully integrated oak, unlike the weaker batches of the 18. It is a whiskey with finesse. It's fancy, but it tastes fancy. Comes in at number 3, Bunnahabhain 25. All right, number 2 is going to be an expensive bottle, and it's a fancy bottle, but don't complain that everything here is expensive. I put it in the thumbnail, I put it in the title. We're talking about premium whiskeys. Number 2, Springbank 21. I actually had the pleasure of trying this twice this year from 2 different bottles. Both times it absolutely blew me away. The first one I think was from 2023. Actually, I don't remember. And the second one I didn't check the date on. So that's very useless information for you, because I just know there's going to be someone in the comments saying, what batch is it? I don't know. I didn't check. Either way, delicious. One of the finest whiskeys I had this year. Springbank is Springbank for a reason. It's a legend for a reason. And like with any Springbank, we have that sort of farmy, funky side to it. We have some wonderful cask management. We have the gentle peat in there. Yeah, phenomenal stuff, and again, elevated by the age. Once again, this has that elegant sophistication that we pay so much money for, and when I say we, I mean other people, because I didn't buy this bottle because I can't afford it. Get out of here. But yes, this is an absolutely incredible whiskey and one of the best things I had this year. It might be tough to find. It might be overpriced when you do find it. This might be one of those situations where you do, in fact, have to trade in a limb. Once again, I recommend the left arm if you're right-handed. Obviously, vice versa if it's the other way around. But you could do worse for a left arm, is what I'm saying. Springbank 21. All right, for number 1, this is a whiskey that I have loved since the moment I tried it. I have reviewed it. I reviewed it earlier last year, I suppose, and I loved it then, and I've been raving about it on the channel ever since. And here's the thing, this list has been pretty fancy, pretty expensive so far, and for the number 1 spot, because it's the number 1 spot, I wanted to bring it back down to earth at least a little bit. Still a fancy whiskey, but not quite on the same level. I'm going with Tamdhu 18. Now, I will admit there were some, I guess you could call it politics, if you want to call it that, involved in choosing this, because some of the previous whiskeys on this list, I admit, I like more, and I think they're better whiskeys, but it's all about availability and affordability when you're choosing your number 1, and this is available and somewhat affordable, you know, considering it's an 18-year-old whiskey, and that was a factor. You can keep your left hand with this one. This will cost you a couple fingers at most. As I said in my review of this stuff, it is both cheaper and better than the Macallan 18. Tamdhu always gets compared to Macallan. Not to mention that this is 46% as opposed to Macallan's 43%. And outside of that comparison, it is just a really elegant pour of whiskey. This stuff is fully sherry matured, but luckily it's not a complete cask attack. The flavors are very forward. The casks imparted a lot of sherry influence, but it's not over the top. It doesn't throw off the balance. This stuff is complex, it is nuanced, it's posh, it's got a high age statement, it comes in a fancy bottle if you care about that kind of thing, and it is just an impressive and delicious pour of premium whiskey that I absolutely love. So I can't recommend this stuff enough. It is one of the best 18s on the market in my opinion, and it's my go-to pour when I want to impress, but I also don't want to go broke. Number 1, Tamdhu 18. Alright, that was the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and as usual, this is the part where I reach out and ask you. First off, what do you think of my list? What was missing? What should have been included? What were some of your favorite pours of whiskey this year? And again, we're going for the premium stuff, the fancy stuff, so don't be shy on that front. Also, let me know what your favorite breakfast cereal is, because comments are good for the algorithm. Finally, if you stuck around to find out what the mystery pour is here, I mentioned earlier that this is from one of my favorite Speyside brands. I mentioned that I've been raving about the 18-year-old for a few years now. They have a secret Speyside collection. Quite the giveaway. I'm sure a lot of you already got this, but what I'm drinking is a Longmorn. Not that this bottle is going to tell you that, but as I mentioned, this is an IB. This one is a 27-year-old distilled in 1994, bottled in 2021. It is a deeply sherried Longmorn. Longmorn is one of my all-time favorite brands. I've mentioned that a lot, and that's because A, I love the flavor of the distillate. It's unique, it's characterful, but it's also one of those whiskeys that lends itself well to, it can be anywhere from a refill bourbon cask to a full-on sherry cask, and it works with pretty much everything. It's a beautiful whiskey, this one in particular. Really great. The bottle is special. It's a Taiwan exclusive, so you'll have to come by the bar in Taipei at some point if you want to try this one. Just ask for the sexy Longmorn and I'll hook you up. But yeah, Longmorn, good stuff. If you've not tried a Longmorn yet, I do recommend it. And yeah, that's it. And I suppose that brings us to the end of the video, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Remember to leave a like down below if you want to help support me. I will put Patreon and PayPal links down below as well. Even just a little bit helps. I am a struggling new business owner. Do take pity on me and give me all of your money. Or just some. Just some is fine too. Anyway, we got the patrons over there, and I suppose I will see you in the next video. Take care and Happy New Year.